How you doing?
So hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome. So the first thing that we do is pledge allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance
To the flag
United
States of
States of
America,
America,
and to the
and the
republic
republic,
for which stands one nation,
nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
and
liberty,
justice
justice for all.
Are there any public comments or correspondence for us?
No, none received.
Okay, so we did not have a quorum last month for the minutes. So we need to approve 2 minutes. So I would like a motion to approve the June 2nd minutes for those, whoever was here. Do I hear a motion? From the June 2nd minutes.
Motion?
I need a motion.
I'll make a
Okay.
motion.
Okay, Tori made a motion. You
I'll
want to
second
second
it.
it? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that passes. And I need a motion for the July 7th minutes.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, and all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Great. Okay, so we got through that. Excellent. That's why we need a quorum, because there'll be other things coming up as we go through our monthly meetings that we will need approval on. So let me get through the chairman comments. So I want to, most of our efforts in July, that was related to the 2 events that we participated in, the Shop and Stroll and the Energy Expo. And I want to thank Tori and Diana and the team and everybody that participated in the events. That was really important. Everybody just kind of stepped up. It was great. You guys did a fabulous job and very much appreciate that. And the goal of that was to, you know, get out there as a board, as a commission, and also engage the public as much as we can. The survey was great, and that was a really good start. And it's something that we leverage because the town was already doing that in different ways, and we can use that as we progress through this Sustainable Connecticut certification process. The executive committee met this week and we spoke a lot about the commission's next step, which is, I'm going to repeat myself a lot here, the Sustainable Connecticut certification process. I met with Janice, I'm going to call her Janice C because I can never figure out how to pronounce her last name. She's the Director of Economic Development.
Christianic.
Christianic. Okay, I'm going to have to repeat that like
There we go.
20 times. It was a great meeting. Just to recap that, the commission was, Sustainable Bethel was created in 2018. When it first started, her department, which is, she's a department of 1, was the lead person start this certification process. So she had several meetings with several of the departments to go through the different category buckets required by the Sustainable Connecticut. And they did get quite far as identifying those projects that have already been completed that can be used for the certification process. So that was very helpful when we start putting our documents together. The survey results, we're going to work with Mary to get those to get those responses, because we're going to need those responses to include in the Equity Toolkit. And like I said, the next step is the certification process. It is a very detailed process. I met with Mary Dickerson today over the phone, who is the Sustainable Connecticut Certification Manager. And we talked for a long time. It was a great conversation to understand what has to be done. They are there to support us, to help us get through all of this. They have a team of people that are there to help us get through this. It is a very detailed, onerous process, but again, it is worth going through it, and they are there to help us. I have invited her as our guest speaker for September 1st meeting. So it's really, that will be really important, because we're going to talk a little bit about it today, but starting in September, we're going to ramp this up. And everybody will have a role related to this process. Talk about that later in the agenda. And then lastly, and I'm going to repeat this pretty much almost every month until we have other things to talk about. We spoke about our mission, our goals, and what we'd like to accomplish. And, you know, the commission is to be equitable, inclusive, to deliver resiliency, to create a vibrant community by implementing actionable projects and programs through partnerships. We're here to support the town and represent the community in all of these efforts. And again, being appointed to any municipality is an honor and a responsibility to carry out our community's vision as it relates to sustainable Bethel. So part of that responsibility is not just coming to monthly meetings. We are a working commission, and we're here to advance the mission and the goals of sustainable Bethel and the town. And to that extent, we will be discussing commissioners' roles and assignments so we can keep this great momentum and excitement going. And then it is my intent that everyone will have a role and then report back to the commission every month through monthly meetings. So we're all working together. And then lastly, I am going to be on vacation August 22nd to the 29th, but I can be available by phone, text, and email. Just want to let everybody know. So that's my report. Anybody have any questions? Because I go through these really quickly. No? Okay. All right, so now I want to hear from all of you about our discussion here about the different events, the survey and our communication and any photos. So what were everybody's thoughts about the shop and stroll event, the Energy Expo? And please pipe up, because you definitely don't want to hear me talking for an hour and a half. Sean, because I will call on you and all of you. So go ahead. What were your thoughts?
Looks good. I was there for both events. Shop and stroll was good. Also, the main goal was to advertise about the Energy Expo, so we did that.
Did you have any thoughts for what we can do better? What were the positives, or not necessarily negatives, but what were all the positives? And if there's something that you think for improvements, and it's not just you, but anybody else.
I mean, to have giveaways one day be helpful to attract people to the table. People like free stuff. So that'd be helpful to have free giveaways to attract something. We didn't have anything to give away besides a flyer for the Energy Expo.
Mhm.
And I think that the board that I suggested for the Energy Expo helped draw some people in.
Mhm.
So that was nice. And I'm not sure if you saw, they shared that on the Sustainable CT Facebook page. They shared my post. They thought it was a great idea, like the poster board. So
Yep.
Good idea. So
Peter 1 right here, and then I'll go to Peter 2.
I was at both events for a fairly extended period of time. I would have predicted that the main event would have been the second event, but of course, it turned out, in my opinion, just the opposite. First event, I was able to really interact with a lot of people, and also the kind of people that were interested in the town because they had their own costs that day. So that was really good. A lot of people didn't know about us, so that was excellent. For whatever reason, and we discussed this in detail, that the Energy Expo was kind of, it wasn't worthless, but wasn't what we hoped for. And in retrospect, my constant interaction with the Congresswoman's office, I'm very pleased that she didn't come, because you don't want to have the Congresswoman come in such a sparse.
Could have been
Really,
that, yeah.
you really want people to be there for that.
Mhm.
So I'm not saying it was worthless. I had a terrific conversation with one of the energy activists in Brookfield,
Okay.
and we're going to continue that dialogue.
Mhm.
And perhaps we can start some kind of, if he knows of people, we can start some kind of interaction with Brookfield as well, kind of pick their brain. So I think both events were excellent, but Energy Expo was a little, I don't know why it wasn't
First one.
And also, I think as Sean points out, the beautiful day on a Saturday, and a lot of people just didn't plug into it. So I think had we had some kind of incentive, I was thinking about the idea about the bill and everything, although logistically that could be very tricky, because I mean, you can't give somebody a coupon that says $10 off your next bill, because they'll send your grandmother and your uncle to get the same thing.
Yeah,
So
that's
that
gonna have
might
to be worked out,
that would be
right?
something to work out. I think it's a good conceptual idea for the next time. But none of these events are worthless. I mean, you're gonna get something positive from it.
Right.
And in our case, it's a matter of more and more education. It will get, we had the article in the, whatever that is.
Hello,
Below
Bethel.
Bethel. And eventually people will have an idea
Mhm.
that we're here for a reason.
Okay, that's good. Peter, what were your thoughts?
Wasn't at the first event, second one, I would concur with Peter. It was a little lackluster. You know, maybe a food truck could have been, you know, engaged.
Yeah, the ice cream truck down the street.
Yeah, something to bring them in.
Yeah, right. You need something on a nice day because they were all walking down Wigwam.
Yes.
And that's why the shop and stroll probably had much better engagement. For me, the only negative I saw is we probably all got to get a better messaging.
Communication.
Yep, just, we should all just be able to tell what we do in 3 or 4 sentences.
Well, how do you, I have trouble with it.
Me too,
Okay, so
because.
does anybody have any
it's
suggestion?
so- No, I don't. Because sustainability means something different
Exactly.
to everyone. So that's kind of where a lot of things that we're looking at, yeah, they're sustainable, but to me, they're more resilience focused.
Right, so I think this, things are gonna start getting more defined and clear
Yep.
when we go through this process,
Yep.
because we're gonna have to.
Yep.
Right, yeah, so I think you're absolutely right, and, but we're gonna get there. And
Yeah,
it's
of
gonna,
course.
and starting
First
in-
event, and
I think, yes, and I think that it was a good thing, and I think we can continue to do that. But yeah, your thoughts are really good. I want to hear from Katie too.
I think that Sean has a good idea with having giveaways, but just want to be cognizant of waste and like you could give away things that people don't want.
Right.
so let me just interrupt. So along these lines, I'm working with the Billy and Oyster Project. And they're looking for what kind of sustainable giveaways. We came up with metal straws for about 7 cents a piece. They come in a little pouch with, so that might be something.
Yeah.
Sorry.
My company also does
Oh, perfect.
like compostable little planters that come in a compostable container. So that's a really simple one as well. And I think that a big draw to the Heat Smart tent was having a game. So
Yeah.
was thinking like a cornhole board of recycling, a recycle bin, and the bags are things that can be recycled, a plastic bottle, a can, things like that. Just a fun little game to draw people in. I think that Tori did an amazing job getting everything together. We were never worried that things were gonna blow away like the other tents had issues with. So I think it was really well organized with the short time that we had. And from the time I was there, we had quite a few people come by. I also have trouble with our elevator pitch, and knowing exactly what to say to people when they're like, what do you do? But I hope, and I can see that getting a little easier as time goes on.
But you see, that's what bothers me about the mission. It seems like right now, we all started off energy, green, bills involved and so forth. But if you look at your mission of what we're doing, it includes things like cultural, educational. So right now, if I were an outsider, I'd think, oh, that's the group that wants to do solar energy and cars and so forth, when our mission is so much broader than that.
That's right.
And I don't know how you, so I like to say to people, we're looking for every way possible within a certain state guideline to help the town of Bethel in so many different ways. But that includes programs for children, that have nothing to do with green energy.
Correct.
And so I don't know how we get all of that. It's such a broad mandate if you look at your list,
It is a broad mandate, right?
and yet they're all important.
And we're starting out like this, we're pulling it together, and then we're gonna go back out again. That's, but
Okay, I
I like
understand
your,
that.
I think your comments are really good. So, Tori,
I thank you all for participating and rallying as a team. I think, it was important that we did this event. It helped check a box for our participation in getting our sustainable certification. We put ourselves out there. I think everybody brings up good points about, our elevator pitch, just a quick one-liner. I think Peter had some good points because we were so centrally located during the shop and stroll. And there were so many people that were shopping and strolling, but also, like he said, there were other vendors that were really invested in working for them too. And we had their support during the shop and stroll. So I think that was really nice. I think it was just a hard time of year. We're in the middle of like summer break for everybody. It was a hot day. There wasn't as much going on as if we had this like September 17th, we probably would have had a completely different crowd. So I think if we do the Energy Expo and it's something that is a go forward strategy, I think, a day when actually like the kids and the parents are around and we can talk about it a little bit more in the school system, because I think that's really what brings people to these events, is like letting the kids know and they let them know, the parents know in all these bulletins and things like that. So I think communication, what the energy team was able to do with like flyers and things like that through Con Ed, I think the forum is like so hit or miss, there's so many different, there's like hello this and political that, blah, blah, blah. Like there's so many different forums going on. There's no centralized place to get messaging, I think, anymore. So I think having our website up, I think having our own page up, our own Facebook page will really help also clear up some of the confusion and drive our message. I think that the participation was great. I think it's nice to be a part of the event. I think because it was the first time also, depending upon where our first course is that we chart, like, maybe we show up at the farmer's market, something that's really established, when we have like a giveaway in our next mission, when it fits in with something that's like really established, I think then we'll see a lot more feedback and a lot more turnaround. So I think overall it was great. It was a good first event. I think having everybody be a team and, support our cause. I think a lot of people would come up to the booth and they were writing things down and they were like, oh yeah, like you're into recycling and, smart cars and things like that. So I think as we narrow our search and then re-widen it back out, we'll be able to integrate in all those other little communities where they'll see our impact.
Sure. Kudos to Tori. Like amazing job. Very, very, very organized. Love the OCD. Girl after my own heart. And, to Katie's point too, we had actually talked about straws because Tori came up with the idea of straws, which is great. I think from a different perspective, I'd like to see something that would be branded with sustainable CT or sustainable Bethel. Because I think that's important to have that on a product that is given away. And so I think that was my only concern with the straws is like, how do you brand the straw? Maybe you can brand the metal straw.
You can.
So, I mean, I've done meetings for a really, really long time. I've done conventions where people literally bring a suitcase with their clothes and then a suitcase for giveaways. You just walk through and they pick them up. I think more importantly, this commission should be focused on education. And that's just my personal opinion. I don't think the giveaways are going to incentivize people to become more sustainable. So I think it's up to us, part of our responsibility as a commission, to have those conversations. And that's really what I see our role is as with the community, is starting those conversations. I do agree about the messaging, but again, this was a one-off. This was not our event. We were just part of it. And I think that's important to remember as well, that we were just participating, and the more events that we can find to participate in, I think the easier it's gonna be to have those conversations with people, and it's also just a level of comfort of having a conversation. I think the very long sustainable action overview worksheet that we all received in the beginning it's long and arduous, but I do think it's very helpful in terms of being able to speak to the different programs that falls under the sustainable CT umbrella, so that people can start to understand that it's more than just energy or conservation or solar. You know, like Peter expressed, there's a lot of different things. There's the poet laureate, which is, you know, something that Catherine expressed she'd like to see. There's kids programs, there's housing. So I think getting really familiar with the documents, taking the time to sign up for the Sustainable CT website if you have not done so already. I think that'll also help take a job off of Catherine's plate, because I know that she forwards it out to everybody. But it's super easy to just sign up for their newsletter, and you can sign up for their coffee hour calls. If you can join, great, and if you can't, no big deal. But I think finding out how other towns do it and exploring the website and seeing those programs would be a great way to educate ourselves, and then we can have those conversations with people as well. So in terms of events though, I mean, I thought it was a decent turnout considering that I've been to other town events. Could it have been better? Sure, things could always be better, but we had those conversations. I actually got a text message from one gentleman that I was talking about. And so I've been texting back and forth with him because he's really interested in bees and chickens. And so I'm connecting him with other people. And I think that's just the first step that we all need to do, is start making those connections of how we can help people learn more, how we can help people be a part of it. You know, the 3 people that I spoke to at length all said that they would be willing to participate in some way, shape, form, or another. And I think that list of other people that weren't elected to the board would be really helpful, because Matt said they would all be willing to volunteer for us. So we can reach out to them if we decide to do another event. And quickly, to Tori's point, I think the farmer's market is a great idea. Maybe each of us can think about a venue or a place that we can participate in over the next, say, 6 months. You know, do something in the winter or the fall, just to have a table, even if it's just one person there for a couple of hours. And
Not to interrupt, but I think that's a great idea. I think that as we choose these things that we're gonna be doing, I think even to do, you know, like a partnership, like if we choose pollinator pathways, we could do something with like Hollandia, or like, you know, we can partner with a local store in our community. And
sure,
Be
we could
there.
do, I mean,
so I think that's a great idea.
there's a lot of groups that do beekeeping. There's a big one down in Westport, but there's also a place over in Newtown. They would be, I think, a great connection to do with like pollinator pathway. But really, you know, anyway, there's so many farmer markets around. Danbury has a farmer market every week on the city center green. That's a place that we could go and have a table. I mean, they're there through the winter, through November, same with Bethel. Although, side note, do you know about that with Bethel Farmers Market?
I just know of it.
Well, there's
Oh, the big things.
trying to, yeah, keep them out. The Master Gardener program, they're trying to eliminate as well, which is very unfortunate.
Yeah.
So as far as we know, they're going to be there through November. But yeah, I think any way that we can participate, think of, you know, outside the box. You know, we can look at the library calendar, you know, maybe there's something going on at the library. I know that Robin at the cafe at the station, railroad station, Daily Fair, thank you. She does the golfing, they do kind of like a golfing event at the library, which is really well attended, but maybe that's something that the sustainable committee can be a part of. You know, they get a really good turnout.
Great idea.
That's a good idea.
Somebody mentioned Hollandia, which is very, I've known the owner for many years. And they do huge traffic, people coming in there. So that might not be a bad, if we could plug into something that's of common interest first of all, one of our missions, I believe, is to help businesses in Bethel. You're a business in Bethel.
If that is one of our,
I believe it
Objectives?
is.
well, it could be. So I think we still need to decide on what all of our objectives are.
Well, that's true.
Right.
But I think if you can, there's an environmental thing there in terms of plants and flowers, and shrubs and all that kind of stuff. If we could find some common ground with them, I know we get exposure because I don't know, they probably do 5,000 people a day.
So this is really good. And thank you for this. Thank you. I want to hear from Stephen Ippolito and then Bill as well. So Stephen, what are your thoughts on the event and communication, et cetera?
Well, the School Street spot is a tough spot if it's something that's independent and it's small because it's not a regular foot traffic area. And when we do something at another event, that's a different story. But if it's Energy Expo, for example, one thing I was thinking as I was there is there's other smaller events that take place on the municipal center lawn where perhaps we could pair with that event. So as people go from the first event, they maybe can pass by the second event and vice versa. And just the fact there's more going on in that part of town just draws more people in. So that's an option for, if there's a craft fair or something else that's on the lawn on a summer day, bringing in more people where it's not solely, the expo is an independent thing, which could help drive some traffic. And then on the messaging point, as far as our elevator pitch, I think that's a good point, and probably something more for the future versus now. But if us as a group, we can't clearly message to an audience, then obviously the people we're talking to are not going to consume that message. So depending on where we're exhibiting, where we're participating in an event, looking at who that audience is and maybe why they're looking to come to that event in the first place, and drive some specific messaging. So it's not just, here's the sustainability committee and this is, the big picture of what we do. Put out a little bit of description, of course, so overall, but then focus more on a core message for that event. So as an example for the expo, if we did it next year, maybe there's a giveaway on, a solar program we did in the past and how many folks have solar in town, or something specific some specific action we are taking for energy conservation as a committee, how to get more information on it, how to help volunteer, whatever it might be, but be more focused to that particular thing and align with the audience that's there. Again, probably not a problem to solve now as we start stepping into this, but as we start to do more of these public events and whatnot, might be good to focus the message a little bit more.
Thank you. That's really good information. Bill, what are your thoughts on everything?
Well, from the Energy Committee side of it, it was a success because we've had the Energy Committee for 12 years and we've done some very specific energy focuses with energy conservation in all the town buildings and the solar on the top of the landfill. We had Solarize Connecticut, where we were pursued solar for all the municipality, all the residentials, trying to enhance that type of a thing. But with the coming of the sustainability, like Peter was saying, energy is just a part of sustainability and it needs to be folded into, and that was our main purpose, was to create the demise of the Energy Committee and fold it into the Sustainability Commission so that it's under the overall umbrella, because it is a part that can be related to other actions like the EV vehicle charging type thing, but also other things and environmental and whatever. So, we had met the objective, or we exceeded the goal that we had with Eversource to justify their funding of the project. We exceeded that quite nicely. So they're pleased with, with what the committee, what the Heat Smart program did since it's in startup. It is supposed to run, till the end of the calendar year. So anything that going down we don't need to worry about it because we've exceeded our goal, but anything that the Sustainability Commission has going, here is something that could be included or folded into that type of a thing, but energy needs to be just integrated with sustainability and the overall, take from there. When the Sustainability Commission was under consideration by the selectmen, there was some question as to why don't we just keep the Energy Committee separate and the Sustainability Commission, and I said, no, that's not appropriate. It's got to be integrated because it's part of it. You can't hold it out. So, from our standpoint that we were trying to achieve, it was successful. It wasn't as big of an event as we would like to have, but, we did with what we had, what we could do. And with the help of the members of the commission, it made it much better than it would have been without. But, bringing it in and into the commission and sort of integrating it to broaden people, and use it as a platform for the commission to work off of and expand into other areas. And so that was what our overall objective was. So we were quite pleased with that.
Bill, I just have a couple questions, and this is really just for my knowledge. What was the goal that was set, and how did we exceed it?
I don't know. I have to get that. We're waiting for the report from Eversource to give us. They track all of that, and it's basically the goal is to get entities, people signed up for the home energy audit. That was their goal.
Okay,
And so that's what we're waiting to hear. They keep the score on what it is, and we should have that, hopefully by the time you have the next meeting. that we
okay,
should
so
be
it
able-
wasn't any kind of attendance thing. Their primary goal was to get registrations for the home energy audits.
Exactly.
Okay. And then you said something in the beginning about 12 years. This event has happened for 12
No,
years?
the commission, the energy committee has been in existence for 12 years.
Right, okay. So how many times has the Energy Expo happened?
That was the first time. That was the only time that we had that. We had a sustainable, a solarized Connecticut event, but that was focused solely on solar, and we had LEDs to give away. We had boxes of things to give away, and we got some good attention from that, and some follow-up, and we got some solar signed up. People signed up for that. But this is the only time there was an Energy Expo.
Okay, so probably not likely that we would be doing it again?
Well, that's something that, Bill, you're wrapped up in that with Eversource and the PACE group. So it might happen again. I think, I don't know if that's something to answer right this second, but it might happen again as like the second annual energy.
Well,
Expo.
if Eversource has more programs, they have programs they roll out.
Right,
And if there are more programs that they put out to emphasize different needs, then they would come into the commission and decide what you would like to do at that point in time.
okay. So thank you everyone for your input. This was really, really, really helpful. So there's two things that I'm hearing, and I would like to assign a couple of those things to a couple of you for now. So one, you brought up a really good point, Diana, about the list of events that we could tap into. And the other was the elevator pitch, which I think is really important. So before I point to who I would like, does anybody here would like to take that on as coming up with a list of events that for the next 6 months to a year that they know of within Bethel or in the surrounding communities that we could tap into potentially? And then if somebody would like to take a stab at that elevator pitch.
Yeah, Tori, can you do something for the beer fest on Saturday? Kidding,
One day, you got
Kidding.
one day.
Just
There you
kidding,
go.
just kidding.
So does anybody want to put something like that together, the list of potential events, and the other is somebody to just take a stab at drafting that elevator pitch.
I can do the events, but I just want clarification around if we're sustainable Bethel.
Yep.
Then what are we doing in Willing?
Yeah.
So just clarification around that.
The only thing that I could think of is a partnership and a collaboration with with like a regional,
Okay,
which is actually something that Sustainable Connecticut does talk about. So
So-
there is the potential. I would rather keep it within here, local, because it makes sense because we're Sustainable Bethel. But if there is a potential to participate and partner with another community in our region, why
Maybe-
not?
maybe your contract, Mary, too, could tell us if like Reading is going out for theirs and like we could partner.
No, Reading's already signed up.
Well,
So I'll look at events and I'll look at events that are with people who are already sustainable, like who already have their certificates.
Yeah.
And then also people that are
But
trying
I think
to
we want
get
to,
it.
if we can keep it local, I think it makes more sense.
Right, but like if Reading has theirs, then they
Yeah.
would be a great partner, or if
Or Brookfield, yeah.
Newtown was
right.
going for theirs, then they would be a great
There,
partner.
yeah, because there
Okay.
is a potential in those categories that we could partner. They actually emphasize that collaboration, that regionalization,
Okay,
because we're 164
I-
different municipalities, so.
I actually have a note to reach out to some of them to see if like even maybe, well, whoever would like to join, but someone from the commission could attend one of their sustainable meetings, just to see how they go,
right.
which I think would be nice, just,
Yeah.
you know, because again, we don't need to recreate everything from scratch.
Yeah, we're gonna get to those details.
But
Go ahead.
I think with the list, maybe if Tori is the keeper.
Yep.
And we give her the opportunities as they come up, she can just, you can just keep
Yeah, like
a
if somebody
running,
knows of,
a running list.
I go to.
Oh, like, oh, hey, I heard that, you know, there's gonna be this up on Stony Hill in November, or maybe it would be a good
Right.
thing to look into.
Okay, that'd be great.
And having
so-
that message would be really important. So Peter Schwartz, is that something you want to take a stab at and
I
email me?
could, I've had a lot of problems with it.
I'm gonna take a stab
Yeah,
at it.
take a
I'll
stab
work
at
with you on it, but if you don't mind taking that first stab.
Yeah, in other words, the quick, what are we?
You know what
about?
an elevator, from a
Yeah.
business point of view, it's like
Well,
a,
I talk a lot in elevators and so.
it's like when you go to a conference or a business meeting
My-
and you're.
my
it's
elevator-
3 sentences.
My
boom,
elevator
boom, boom.
discussion could be 20 minutes, but
Okay, so
that's my problem.
I'm okay with
This will
that.
be a good exercise.
So
for you.
if you
In
can,
learning to say something concisely.
There you
Yeah.
go.
if you can take a stab at that
Yeah.
and email me, I
So
will
the
help
only
you
thing
with that.
is, you see, like, Diana mentioned something that I agree. I think, in my opinion, things like education and programs for education are very important.
But that's,
Okay.
but you can,
But-
that can be looped into the pitch in
Well,
the sentence. you
The whole
know?
idea is to broaden it. And
Yeah.
for example, I mentioned helping businesses. I thought that was part of our mission.
It is one of the major
But
categories,
not-
yeah.
Exactly. So,
Mhm.
but I'm not sure everybody here realizes that.
But we're
Okay.
getting to that.
Okay.
Yep. So if you don't mind,
I'll take a
take
shot
a
at it.
stab and I'll work with you on that. All right? So those are the two things on that.
Would it be helpful to just use the mission statement as the base?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, well,
do-
that's what I would do.
And then,
I'm gonna leave it to you.
That's
Yeah,
what I would do,
just-
except that the
and that way
mission.
we all, because we all have that.
We can use
Yeah.
that, but yeah. Anything else on this before we get into like the Sustainable Connecticut? Everybody good? Okay, good. So I wanted to share with you my conversation with Mary Dickerson, the certification manager from Sustainable Connecticut. Again, it was a very, very good conversation today. And what we're looking at as far as the process and the strategy, the Equity Action Toolkit, which Diane and I and Tori have talked about, that is a required element of the Sustainable Connecticut certification. And that is the most important and apparently the most time consuming. Again, we're going to be working with them to help us through this process. That's their job, actually. There is also somebody who is Jessica Leclerc. And again, I'm just sharing this information with you so you understand that we're not out here by ourselves. We have a team with the Sustainable Connecticut that will work with us. Jessica Leclerc is the program manager for community engagement outreach, and she will also assist and review any outreach efforts that we do, which we already did quite a bit in a very short period of time because everybody stepped up. Thanks to you leading that effort. She's considered like the equity coach. And then we will review, we already have a list, I have a list from Janice of the Bethel projects. So, but we'll be working with them, their team, and determine the earned and completed credits and scores. And we'll enter that, we'll have that available to us. We are required to pick an action under each major category. That was a little confusing to me, and I think to some people that we did not have to do. We just had to come up with the 200 or the 400 points, depending on whether it was bronze or silver. But no, she said we have to pick an action. And I said, well, some, that might be a little challenging for some municipalities. She said, no, there's elements under those major categories that would fit into four different communities, because some smaller ones wouldn't do something that a larger one would do. So that's why they have those subcategories. So we're going to work with them on that as well. So as far as the goal to complete this process, the first process, which is the bronze certification, 200 points, would be fall of 2023. It's going to take that long to get there. I mean, there's a lot to do. I'm going to get to how we're going to do it. And then next month we'll have her come and give a presentation and answer a lot of questions. So we're looking to complete the package fall of 2023. That's the bronze level, 200 points. And then if we are really motivated and we're like in the middle of everything, we want to keep that momentum going, we can continue to the silver status for the spring of 2024. But keep in mind, the goal now is the fall of 2023. That's what we're going to do. During the summer, the Sustainable Connecticut, they do engage paid fellows, their interns, to assist the towns and cities with their certification process. So actually, that's why the fall is good, because they'll be hired in May. So May to August, we would have someone that would actually be hands-on with us, although we're going to have everybody else during that process. We would be assigned, and we will be assigned someone May to August to assist with this final application submission. They apparently come from the Council of Governments in the area, and I don't know, I can't remember if we're WestCog or MetroCog, but one of the cogs, and they are paid by Sustainable Connecticut.
What do you mean by cog?
There is, the state is kind of divided into different Council of Governments. And depending on what area, it's either Western Connecticut Council of Governments. There's another one called
That's the
Metro.
acronym.
Yeah,
Got it. Never heard of it
yeah,
before.
no, I know it's like a movie,
Yeah.
right? It's not. There is another person, if we are having issues with the website, who is in charge of website access. We will all get an email. We need to get an email for every single one of the commissioners to have access to the Sustainable Connecticut website under the Sustainable Bethel umbrella, because everybody's going to have a part in entering information into the application. You'll only be able to enter information, not do anything else. I'm thinking that the executive committee will have editing rights, before we give this to the first selectman's office for final review. And then, of course, we'll be working with the Sustainable Connecticut team. What I'd like all of you to do between now and September 1st is, and Mary, you're going to give us are you sending us an email, or are we going to go through the Sustainable Connecticut to give us that access? How is that going to work?
Well, I have everybody's email and I put them in this afternoon. And then you should be getting an email confirmation because Matt, as the first selectman, is set up as the owner,
Okay, good.
and then you can have contributors.
Okay, right.
So I've put in everybody's email address. If anyone doesn't get a confirmation email, I'll do it again.
Okay,
I think I had put in some and then realized there was another box to click, so.
okay.
and if everybody didn't get in, just let me know.
Okay, that's great. So please look for the email's going to come from you or Sustainable
I
Connecticut.
believe it comes from Sustainable.
Okay, so please look for that email and verify that so you have access, everybody.
Do we all use the same login information?
I think it asks you for your login information, you make it up.
Oh, so we all
Under
can-
Bethel, under
Under
Bethel,
Bethel, but we all create
Under-
our own.
I
correct.
believe so, because all of your email addresses have been entered, so.
Okay. So there has to be a way then, if someone leaves the commission,
there is.
to remove that,
Yes.
that would be
The owners
you
can
then or
remove,
Matt.
Matt or
right?
I'm also listed as an owner.
Right.
We can remove people, contributors can't,
Right,
but one contributor can invite another contributor, so.
but
that's
you would
another
have to get the approval would have to go through the first selectman's office, right?
No, I don't think so, because Sean, you were listed as a contributor on the sustainable CT.
Right, but if he invites somebody to add content before any of us invite anybody, does that have to go through the?
I don't think
The
so.
owner,
From
okay.
what I read today, it says contributors can invite. other
Okay, well,
contributors.
we're gonna have to watch that one, right? That, I mean.
Right,
All right, so we can talk offline if you would want, the executive committee or one of us to have that ownership, or when you can talk to Matt about that. So we can monitor it and make sure there's not like, and not that I'm thinking that all of you add a bunch of people to it, but just so we're monitoring it, where the owner does have the right to edit and do all of that. Okay, then there's another level, viewers, and that's for the public to view, but we'll be contributors. Okay, so that's great. So please look out for that. So look out for that. I would like you all to, when talking to Mary Dickerson, there are training modules on the Sustainable Connecticut website. It would be really, really good if all of you went on there, and they're really quick. I mean, they're like a couple of minutes.
They do a good job.
The website is awesome. I mean, not only are there the video training visual modules, but there's also PowerPoints with the same information. So however you absorb information, it's there, which is really great. I really would like you to do that as part of, I'm gonna call it homework, for lack of a better term, because we all need to kind of be on that same page as far as how all of this is going to work. Because it will ramp up starting in the fall. We are going to start working together to get this information in there, working with Sustainable Connecticut. And then after we go through that, after we determine the Bethel projects that have already been completed that fit into those categories, and we can see where the points are, and we might already have all the points, I'm not even sure yet, right? But I have that list, and I'm gonna go through that with everybody. With the Sustainable Connecticut, we'll go through all of that. Then we'll figure out what we can implement if we're missing points, or if we want to do it, right? We probably do want to do it because that's what we've been talking about. So for instance, depending on what's left over and what we figure out in the point system, we can then engage with them through their community match funding program, which is called the CMF program. And so for the criteria for that is it cannot be municipally funded. It is a grassroots type of project. The funding is done through a crowdfunding platform, through their crowdfunding platform called Patronicity. And all of this is listed on their website. They will match up to $15,000. So again, we've talked, this is just me thinking out loud because we've talked about it. It doesn't have to be this. We've talked about pollinator pathways. So maybe that is something that could be crowdfunding funded, and there could be a community match, which be a collaborative effort. She talked about, there is a community in Connecticut that decided to have one of their fairs, they decided to go fully green. So nobody can have any plastic. And they did that as a pilot. Some people have piloted composting or whatever. So again, those are the kinds of things, those are the creative and the new initiatives that we can do, but we can collaborate and partner with them through this crowdfunding grassroots type of project, which I think would be really cool, really awesome. So anyway, that's what I have on the Sustainable Connecticut for now. I really want you guys to look at the website, look for the email. After we have this conversation here with Mary Dickerson and, go through the website, if you have questions, I mean, you can ask them during the month, obviously, but, be prepared because she's gonna go through.
What's her title again?
She is the head of the certification manager for Sustainable Connecticut. So her job is basically to liaison with us. And she's great. She has an amazing amount of energy. She understands how everything is working, and she's worked with a whole bunch of communities, and she comes from the municipal sector. So she understands how municipalities work as well. So she's going to be a very good person to know and to help us, and the rest of the team as well.
I don't know if you want to, it's like people want to pass that down.
Yeah.
That's a community match.
Right, so look at this, this is on the website, so they'll give you an idea as well. So please take a look for the email. There are 13 major buckets, category buckets. The last one, the 13th one, that's if you're gonna create a whole new program related to Sustainable Bethel, but we're gonna follow the Sustainable Connecticut process and that criteria. So take a look at that. All of that is online. Now, you did look at it a couple of months ago when we asked you to look at all of that and the different subcategories under that. Again, once we determine what Bethel has already done in those subcategories under each of the major categories, that information will have to be entered into the application. Now, it's not just entering information. There's a certain type of language that has to be followed. What I'm looking at is each of you will be given, and I'm thinking maybe we would pair up because it kind of makes sense. So nobody's doing this by themselves, or we're not doing it by themselves, but just to have ownership of each of certain categories. So look at that, so you know what's going on. So that's what I have on Sustainable Connecticut. You guys have any questions? It's really exciting. I think we're gonna, do a really great thing here.
I think we have a lot of points already.
Oh, I do too. I think we do. I think we do. But we still have to,
Everything that the town's done.
but the heavy lift is getting it into the application in that format that they will review, and then we will be able to get the points and get the certification.
Yeah.
And that's where everybody comes in working together. But then also thinking about how we'll use the community match funding component as well.
Can you just recap that? So
Go ahead.
just in a broad, first step, getting us logged in.
Yeah, that's
Second-
the email.
Second step, seeing equity is the first thing that we
Oh,
need
yeah,
to
we
do.
have to do that
And
equity
seeing-
toolkit.
So there is, like Catherine was saying, there's these buckets. But the very first application process that is required, no matter what the towns decide is important for them, is the equity toolkit. And that application alone is like 40-something pages.
Yeah, it's very
They're
tedious.
really, I mean, when Catherine says they're in depth, they are in depth.
Where
So
did we find that to look at it?
I sent it to you guys.
Okay,
Well,
Yes.
to take a look at. And so the equity application is what I'm going to start working on. No, there may be sections that I might reach out to someone for help on.
Yes, we're
Um,
gonna have to figure that out. Yep.
Yeah, but I'll be taking the first stab at the equity toolkit, because again, that's required. We can't really do anything else until that's completed. And according to Sustainable CT, that alone is like a 2 to 3 month timeline to complete.
But yes, that we need to have that no matter first before anything else that can happen. But in the meantime,
We can work
everybody's
on it.
gonna have yeah, so we're gonna, if there's gonna be overlap, we don't have to wait for it to be and then assign, tasks or anything like that. We're gonna be also looking at what's already been done in the town that we can leverage, use those points in that application process. So that's gonna take a little bit of doing as well to figure out what that means and if it fits into those different
I
subcategories.
think there's gonna be some crossover.
Absolutely.
I think, even like the solar farm that we have out at the transfer station is probably gonna be able to be used towards maybe 4 or 5 different sections or subcategories.
You read my mind. That's what I was thinking that.
Yeah, there's gonna be crossover, so, which is great, because again, even like Bill was saying, Bill, how long ago, Bill, that you guys did the rehab on all the town buildings? That was not that long ago, right?
Now, what was that?
When did you work with everybody to update all the municipal buildings?
Well, that was, project started about 10 or 9 years ago. Then we went through the energy audits for all the buildings and the bidding and all that kind of good stuff, and was just completed 4 years ago.
Yeah, so I don't see why we wouldn't be able to use that too.
Right, so, yes, so that study was completed. There's also a couple of, let me see, when I talked to Janice, there's like a master, I didn't write it down. There is a master plan. There's quite a lot of stuff that's already been done. But to get the certification, to get the points, it has to be within the last 3 years. But related to some of these plans, they might be 10-year plans.
Sure.
So even if you rolled it out 4 years ago, you're still within that 10-year period. So that's something that we would have to work with Sustainable Connecticut to make sure that's something that we can use.
So just from like a planning perspective for the next month until September 1st, we're gonna dive into the equity portion.
Well, Diana's gonna take a stab at that.
And
Yeah,
then she may be reaching out to us as the month goes on
correct.
to help with different portions of
Well,
it.
Yeah, the
on that,
solar on the schools, the 3 schools was just completed this January, so.
Okay, so then, yeah, so we have, and there's a lot. I mean, the list from Janice was.
They don't give guidelines on the application, what you can use and what you can't.
Oh, there's
Yes, there's a lot.
extensive,
A
yes,
lot.
there is, but
So-
there's still, because I don't work for the town and
Right.
I'm not in the departments, I'm gonna have to be making phone calls to get information. Like, if I have to enter in a date of completion,
Right.
I'm gonna have to figure out who to call to get that date of completion and get the paperwork to support it that goes along with the application.
Right, so but they're also, it's not only the paperwork, it can be links. I mean, if the town has a link for something that's already been completed, you just throw that in there.
Yeah, I was just asking from a perspective of like, how can we be of help in the next 30 days before our next meeting?
You want more than the?
No, so right now, so right, yeah, I don't, yeah, right now, we're
Already
starting.
gotta make a list.
You're gonna make the list. Peter's gonna help with the message. What I want you all to do is really familiarize yourself with the website and what we have to do. I do have a list from economic development on projects that have been done, but it's not completely clear on what that means. So that's something that we will be working with the Sustainable Connecticut team to figure out, how do we get those into those buckets? We're not there today yet, so we can't do that for September. So that's what I want all of you to work on. Diana's gonna take a stab at the Equity Toolkit to see what information we need to complete that, and then we'll help out. You know, I think that's where we are right now. I know
Yeah,
Matt,
if anyone's like, loves numbers or loves researching data or,
Super bored.
super bored,
So
I
maybe-
think if we just find, if you can share with us your strengths, or if you say to us, you know what, I can't touch events because I can't stand them. Well, that's great, but there's probably a ton of other areas, and everyone, and Bill and Steve, I mean, we all have gifts that we can share. And if you have a passion about something and we can fill in a gap somewhere, let us know, If you like filling out paperwork, great. Some people don't. Some people don't mind it.
there's gonna be a lot for everybody to do. Is there anybody, so along the same line, those lines, is there anybody right now that would like to help out Diana with the Equity Toolkit? It's gonna take a while to complete, but at least be part of her team.
We discussed that I would help.
I know,
just
but you
need-
got a lot, but I know, we're
I
we're
just
talking about
wanna-
the executive committee here. We gotta assign these things to the rest of the team here. Sean,
Help with events, and
you wanna help with events? Okay, so,
communications and.
so yeah, that's your team guy right there, Sean. He always wants to be with you.
So maybe, Sean, you could take the Hello Bethel article, which I thought was fabulous,
Yep.
maybe could you try and see if we can get that posted in the Gazette, the Bethel Gazette, and also Danbury News Times? And put it out on the Facebook, like share the whole, I thought it was a great article, and I
He
thought
did a
it
good job.
a
He did.
really nice job of explaining what the commission was.
Yep.
I think the News Times want to do their own.
Right, but so
No,
maybe,
they won't.
You don't think
It
so?
would just be easier to give it to them. Say, hey, listen, we're a newly formed commission, we have this article,
Alright,
can
well,
we
you can
share
do
it,
that.
or would you like to
she
interview
has
the
a,
committee?
she has a point, because News Times is like the hour, and I think they own like 6 or 7 different towns. They're owned by Hearst Media.
Right.
So she's right, it would be easier if we just shared that as a, like a, its own press
Public-
release.
It's a public notice.
It's a, yeah,
Or
Oh, you mean
right,
as a
press
public
release.
notice
Yeah.
as opposed to a news article?
right.
They
but
can do whatever they want.
Well, a
might-
news
yeah,
article,
they
they
might
want their
call.
own reporter.
So, yeah, that's a really good, Sean, but that's something you can reach out and
Yeah.
do with the News Times and the other
Yep.
news outlets. That would be awesome. Make sure they have my name spelled right in the title.
So they'll contact,
Everybody spells my name wrong.
when they contact you, we have an email that you created for
It's not official,
like, we should have an email too, like. you
Oh,
don't-
that's what I
Right.
wanted to
so we
mention.
needed like an official email.
I did want to mention that to Mary. So Mary Dickerson did say that we do need a sustainable Connecticut email that everybody could send stuff to,
Yeah.
but we all have access to, apparently.
Well, I think that would be right, because wouldn't, Mary would control that, like
Yeah.
on the agenda.
That's fine.
We have public communications, right? So if someone has a concern or a question about sustainable, they're gonna email that email address. Mary would be bringing that to our attention at the meetings.
Right, but it makes sense to have something specific to the commission, Sustainable Bethel
Yeah,
email.
Yeah.
So we're not just all using our,
Right, no,
personal
and I
business
think
email.
that's what we had talked about is
Okay.
it would fall under, like Mary would have.
Oh, okay, I
You
see
guys
what you're
use-
saying.
You guys use Outlook,
No,
Gmail?
Gmail, yeah.
but it would still fall
So it's
under
under the
her
G Suite, which is fine.
domain,
That's fine.
right? And then, like, let's say something, an email comes in for Sean because if it's an article,
Right.
maybe Mary can just forward it to
Can I-
Sean.
Since we're going down this path, can I just make a suggestion that
Sure,
if we do this, then we have a G Suite where you can upload documents
And
to?
we need to
and
have
we
the
can
Google
upload
Docs.
documents to to
Yeah,
help
that's how it.
put them into one spot for everyone.
I
Yeah.
agree. That's fine.
That
Yeah,
way
con-
you
a
don't have
contact
to
list,
house it
you can
all.
Put like a folder for contacts, because we have all these contacts, and I mean, if I go networking, it'd be good to have one central
This way we
location,
can just
but-
upload documents that we have, and if you have us on a mission to go look for something,
Yeah.
we can find it, throw it on the G Suite.
Yeah, we're,
Yeah, I just don't know if that conforms with the town's policies
so-
and how that works
Yeah.
with security.
So Mary Dickerson said that most of the towns do that. So if you want to call Mary to see how they do it, and then we'll just follow those rules,
Protocol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm okay with that. But I do think that we need to have it all separate from our own personal or our business email communication, because it's getting, it'll get lost. There's so much of it.
Well, back to the News Times.
Oh, go ahead.
I think they definitely would do an article on us. They cover Bethel. It's part, if you read the News Times.
Yeah, they
which
do.
is-
They
right,
do. They do.
This is Bethel section. I think it's much more effective than a public notice. I don't read public notices, and I read a lot.
Sorry, that was a very
It's
loose
a
term.
PR, it's a
Yeah,
PR
it's a very
piece.
loose term that
I don't
used.
see why they wouldn't cover
No,
it.
no, they will, but I think, but Sean reaching out will
I
have
think Sean will do a
impact.
great job, but I think you'll find a receptive.
Sean's great. at
but then they might
communications.
charge money, right?
No. This is editorial. This is not advertising. Their job as a newspaper is to cover the surrounding towns. That's what they
Yeah, they
do.
probably didn't know about it, so if you can reach out to them, unless, does the town have a contact at the News Times, Mayor?
not that I know of.
Well,
Okay.
the editors change and the reporters change, but that's what they do. They cover things you wouldn't believe, like a swimming meet.
Just let us know what you find out,
Oh, yeah.
it's just sharing the information, and they're always looking for information, so.
And I'm on,
Yeah.
I'm on the public relations committee for Ant's Place.
Okay.
So I'll do both.
So that'd be great, thank
Yeah.
you.
Danbury News Times is a great it's very clear as to who you can contact for what.
Right,
Press releases are no charge, no matter where you post them,
right.
but just pick someone, play play dumb, not that I want to use that word, but be like, oh, hey, I have this really great article I want to share. Can you guys do something with it? Leave it at that.
Yeah,
See, I wouldn't
And
do
just-
that. I wouldn't bring the other article in. I
It's
would say, we'd
information.
like you to cover this.
No, because then that takes up more time of
No,
all of
but
our schedule.
it's,
So she'll be interviewed by the News Times.
but they may do that anyway. Just,
First
you
of all,
know what to do,
Yeah.
because you've done it before. All right, so,
so the G Suite, we don't have that set up yet.
no,
Right?
I think we're not set up yet, no.
We
But we
talked
need-
about it, but remember they shared document with us, but then we couldn't edit anything, the folders, the subfolders, we couldn't.
Right, so that's something that we need to kind of work
Yeah, I
on.
have it on my
Actually, yeah,
Right.
Mary's gonna look at it, because we want to follow the town protocol.
And our website, do we have a timeline on the website?
Yeah, where is the
Or the
website?
tab, sorry, the tab on the Town of Bethel site.
Right, yeah, the tab, right.
Are we talking about the Facebook page?
No.
Well, website, we don't have, we don't have our own page on the town's website, so that needs to happen too. That's part of communication.
The IT guy.
Yeah,
He's the one that
Dion,
does that.
Dion had said that she had reached out to someone already.
Okay.
Your IT person.
Right, and then we don't have the Facebook, I don't know if we have the Facebook page.
No,
No, okay. All right,
IT
so,
person was out.
right, so
that's-
that needs to happen, because once we start ramping up, we're gonna start posting stuff, because we want the public to know what's going on.
Yes.
Okay, so is there anything else, so there's, beside the homework where everybody's gonna watch the email, read the website, and then you're gonna be doing events. Peter's gonna get me the draft of an elevator pitch. Sean, you're gonna deal with the PR. Mary's gonna look at the Gmail, and the G Suite, and the website, the Facebook page. I wanna go through these other things too. Okay, is there anything else?
so there's a Bethel Holiday Weekend Craft Festival on Sunday, 9/4, 11 a.m.
You gotta email it to her.
No, well,
I got
she's
it.
posting on
Sunday.
her notes.
Sunday, 9/4,
Yeah, at
10
11 a.m.
a.m., 11 a.m., craft fair.
There's a plant swap
Plant-
this
plant
weekend.
Oh, I like that. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Okay, I think that's good for Sustainable Connecticut, and again, Mary Dickinson will be here, she's gonna be virtual, because she lives actually in Massachusetts. She wants to come down here, but she has something right before. But going forward, her and her team will be able to meet with us in person, so that's really good. Is there anything, Stephen, Ippolito, and Peter, anything that you would like to contribute? I want to talk to, should I went to the bathroom? No, are you good?
Technical stuff.
Okay, technical stuff. All right, so, all right, you do have your homework to read everything. Quickly wanted to talk about bylaws. The reason why the executive committee brought that up is, so we have some rules relating to mostly how we conduct our business here, how we vote, which is Robert's Rules of Order, okay? The other component is attending meetings. Attending meetings is really important, especially now going forward, because we're gonna have a lot of stuff going on. We're gonna have a lot of stuff that we have to vote on. We are a formal commission of the town. So again, that responsibility that we attend meetings, we get, I totally get it, that people have a life and stuff happens, it's fine. But we want to come up with something that we can all live with, but that we have some rules that we abide by. So we're gonna be looking into that as the executive committee.
And most importantly is the quorum. We need how many people so that we can pass?
Well,
a
there's
decision?
10, we need 6.
Okay. so we
Every
need-
month, we need 6 to pass any approval, any business that we have to do.
So if we can't be here, like a vacation or something, let you know.
Yeah, we have
so
to
you
know.
I mean,
Yeah.
beforehand.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that is gonna happen. You know,
Yes.
people have a life and stuff happens, so we get that. That's fine. Then the reason I put strategic plan on there, which is gonna tie into all of this, something we need to think about, not today, but something we need to, again, that goes to your point and everybody else's point is what is, not only the elevator pitch, what is our strategic plan? And it'd be really helpful, not only for us to come up with that, but and also when we report out to the selectmen, we report out to the public, this is our plan, came up with this annual plan, and then we can check off, we did this, you know, so it's typically it's an annual plan. If we want to go longer than that, that's fine, but once we have our elevator pitch and we already have a mission, then we can come up with a strategic plan that says, okay, now we're gonna be attending events. These are the events for this year. We're going to be finalizing again, making this up, but we are gonna do this. The Sustainable Connecticut certification fall of 2023. So those kind of things. Then we're gonna be coming up with a creative initiative to partner with Sustainable Connecticut under their community match fund as examples under a strategic plan. So I want you all to think about that. We don't need to do that today. That's not gonna be homework for next month because we already have a lot going on. That's what I got.
But I shouldn't email, should I email from my own personal email for the?
For
PR?
now, that's what
For
you
now.
got. That's what you got. If you want to copy me on that, I'm happy for you to do
No, I
that.
don't mind.
I'm
And-
fine with that.
Yeah, it's on my LinkedIn also, and like, if people were doubtful about, I mean, they wouldn't, I don't think they'd be doubtful, but if they question it, and I think I'm gonna start. putting,
Again,
like,
if you feel more, you can copy me.
No, I don't mind.
I'm-
I just
Okay,
wanna
you know
follow the
what?
process, we don't have a formal,
Not yet,
Coming soon.
coming soon.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
You can just introduce yourself as, I'm a member of the Sustainable Bethel CT Commission.
Yeah.
Before and recently, I wanted to share this article with you.
Yeah.
Post it.
Can we get any traction on it?
Right.
Kind of a thing.
Are you still talking about the News Times?
Sean just
No,
asked
he
me
just
to
asked a
email
question,
you.
About
Peter, and
what
we're
email
answering
address.
it.
Okay.
So
We're good.
For now, yeah, we have to use.
and then try to get the,
I don't see a problem with the News
Personal.
Times.
What, Sean?
They just.
No,
need
we're
readers,
probably the
anything
Bethel Chamber
that
of Commerce,
attracts-
right?
Exactly, anything, they're
No,
looking
no,
for stuff
no.
to put in the
No.
papers.
Well,
My daughter's in journalism.
they can help how?
I'm all about.
share, well, once you get Facebook
They look for
page, you can
things.
start
that-
sharing.
Wait, we're listening to Sean right now.
You can start sharing for us. I feel like they draw big traction for us as well, like on Facebook, they draw, and they have meetings every month, so if we can get in front of them, actually,
So the chamber would be like a partner of ours.
yeah,
They can help us, so the chamber does events.
Yeah.
But
Their
we can
newsletter.
also, I can certainly ask them if they can post on their, like, we can't post on their website.
Yeah.
But I can ask them if they can share a post on the website.
and we even attend their networking. Because they have like, I think, happy hour, like social networking, so it'd be good for us to engage in those events.
Yeah, we meet every,
Oh, you're part of the chamber?
I'm a member.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to do that if,
Every
you come up with
Tuesday.
something.
every Tuesday, we have a networking group.
Yeah.
Although we've taken off for the month of July, so we reconvene on August 9th, and we meet in the mornings from 8:30 to 9:30 on Tuesdays. We alternate in person or Zoom. So I've already expressed to the whole networking
yeah.
group that I'm on the board and we have, things coming out.
Yep.
But I can certainly just ask any one of the board members to say, hey, listen, can you share this on your Facebook page?
Yeah.
I think that's, and we can put that as their events or their meetings. Absolutely, we should
Yeah.
show up. I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah, they do that. Well, we're doing Beer Fest this Saturday. Obviously, it's too last minute. But we're
We talked about
doing
that, I don't think it's the right clientele.
winter. Why not? It's on a municipal lawn.
They
put a
recycle
table up.
all of their bottles and cans.
Yeah, I think
All of
I
that.
think we could fit ourselves into any event that comes up.
I agree, because sustainable
Just
means
the table.
different things to different people,
Exactly.
right?
Right, it's just a
Yeah.
table, and if someone stops by, that's one person that stops by, and that's great.
The more people we reach, the better, and that's part of the whole
At Beer
outreach.
Fest, you could give out free energy audit coupons. Look. They go off.
Are you back from Dublin? No, you're going away.
No, I'm leaving. So I'm gonna have some real beer.
I'm bringing my ping pong table to put next to my booth, and so everyone's gonna play like a little.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Because they don't have any games. I'm the band sponsor for the Beer Fest.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Very
What
fun.
is it? Is it Saturday?
Saturday from 2 to 6. Yeah.
Big weekend.
Show
Yeah.
up.
Food truck
It's sold out.
Friday, Beer fest.
Tickets are sold out.
Only VIP though.
Oh,
Not-
there you go.
Only VIP, not the regular ones.
What was that?
Only VIP sold out, not the regular admission.
I just talked to Rachel from Broken Symmetry. I thought she said they were sold out, but maybe it's just the VIP
She's a
that
VIP,
sold
I'm pretty
out.
sure.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
Want
It's
to
a
be
lot of fun.
sold out, for sure.
I get people drunk enough, they'll buy a house through me.
I love that
Here's your
attitude.
gift bag with my Sustainable
thank
Bethel
you.
card.
And here, just go get your mortgage here, yeah.
There's a metal straw, don't touch the wires.
You know, what do you think about, we don't have a logo, but you've created a good.
Oh, I
logo.
thought she did, Tori did a great job with that.
That's our new logo.
It's something we do for like yard sign, you know, I think that's what I mentioned before about
Yeah.
sustain Bethel.
That could be like a good spring fundraiser if we go down like the pollinator pathway, blah, 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 blah. Like that could be a good spring fundraiser, I think. Cause like snow season's coming.
Could we do compostable, biodegradable yard signs?
If you can find a vendor.
You're good at that.
Just saying.
Oh, so Katie, you're back. So I was talking a little bit about the bylaws when you were gone, and the reason for that is so we have rules. And you're gonna get a list of the other municipalities, right?
So Mary from Sustainable CT shared with me certain websites
Mhm.
that have their bylaws and a lot of their projects posted online on their own website. So I'm going to go to those sites and just kind of pull some stuff that I think might be helpful for us.
Okay,
So
so,
we don't have to recreate. the wheel.
right, so Katie, do you want to share that with Katie, and then you can like maybe draft something from that? And I'm looking at, what we're looking at is something really easy that, okay, we have to abide by Robert's Rules of Order. We want to put a rule in there that, you know, I'm making this up again, but I'm sure it's already in that. Like if you miss 3 consecutive meetings or something like that, well then, you know, that's an issue. So some kind of rules like 3 to 5, 1 page, some bylaws in some organizations and companies are really long. We don't need that, but we need some kind of rule that we abide by, you know, that some guidelines. Totally understand that people have a life, totally understand that things come up. That's fine. That's not an issue. But we just want some kind of guidelines. So if you don't mind taking a stab at that with those bylaws that already exist and kind of tailoring it to our needs, that would be really great. Okay, good. All right, I think I'm done talking. Wait,
October meeting change. Do
Oh,
we need to mention that?
we might need to mention that now, but I don't know how that works, Mary. I'm gonna be away and so is Tori, the first week in, well, you'll be 2 weeks, but I'm away the first week in October. I don't know how we changed it to a different day.
But aren't we changing?
I don't know yet. No,
Oh, you can have a special meeting?
so we would change instead of having it, I think it's October
I
5th.
think you have to schedule a special meeting,
Okay,
cancel, everyone agrees, and then schedule it.
Yeah.
okay, so we would have to
it
do that on the
second meeting.
agenda in September.
Yep.
Okay, let's put that on. there. Thank you for bringing that up, because yeah,
For the 10-6 meeting.
yeah, so we're gonna have to,
Vote.
okay. That's in September agenda for a special meeting. Right, I should know this, but
In place of 10-6.
all right, so we'll write that down. All right, that's fine. And hopefully everybody, yeah, we'll have to do that because we can't have both of us gone the first week. So again, something came up. For the both
Speaking
of
of
us.
bylaws.
Yeah, anyway, all right, so is there anything else? Are you guys all right with everything that we're talking about? Are you good? Good.
Bill,
Hello?
Steve,
Steve, Bill, hey, anything from you guys?
Not for me. I'm fine, thank you.
Nope, I'm good.
You're good? Okay, all right.
For the, wait,
Yeah.
real quick, for the, how about the newsletter? Is anything you want to tweak about it or just the way it is fine?
No, you mean the other news outlets?
Yeah,
If they want to change it, or if they want to interview me or anybody else, they can go do that, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, we're all good with that. We're all about getting the word out, so.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Okay, so no other business by anybody?
you don't have any survey, we don't have any results yet.
No,
Not yet.
no, we're gonna get that from the first selectman's office. Yeah, so that'll be part of.
I'm just
everything.
curious how, see how many entries we got so far.
Right, and we're just gonna continue to, I mean, to me, right, we should just continue to post
Yeah.
it. The more the better.
but I think we want to hold off on reposting the links until we confirm what's going on with the Survey Monkey.
Yes,
So we're just gonna pause on social media for the survey right now.
okay, so do I hear anything else before I motion to, no? Okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Thank you, everybody.
Or
Good
you-
meeting.
Peter,
Very
I almost
good.
saw you on the screen.
Thank you,
so-
thank
Oh,
you. Bye, Bill. Bye, Steve.
Yes.
Bye-bye. Good evening.
Said something about your daughter.